Man, what an episode this was. Yeah, this one was pretty great. How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to be going over the episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. Episode 6 blew me away on many different accounts, and in this video I'm just going to be going over it, giving my detailed analysis, giving my 2 cents on it, and just going over everything, talking about the things that worked for me, the things that don't really work for me, and where I think this show is going to go forward in the future. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So at the very beginning of the episode, we immediately go to Cobb Vanth. Now, Cobb Vanth makes sense to be in this show. I mean, we all know that Boba Fett and Mando are going to be recruiting people for the war against the Pikes, and Cobb Vanth is a given. He's the marshal of that area on Tatooine. But right after his scene ended, we go to a completely different shot, and on that shot is Din Djarin's Naboo starfighter that we saw in the last episode, and he's heading towards a foresty and watery planet. Now, the second I saw this, it hit me. I said, oh, I know exactly where he is going. I know exactly what planet that is, and my predictions were correct. This is the planet of Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple and Academy. If you had told me whenever the show was announced that we would see this in it, I would call you crazy. I would say you're making stuff up for clicks. But with this episode, I believe half of it was Luke Skywalker training Grogu. And words can't describe how happy I was this entire section. I mean, it was just amazing. And on top of that, we have Ahsoka Tano amongst the rest of them. And if you told me 10 years ago that there would be a show, a live action show, where Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, a Mandalorian, and this baby Yoda species all on the same planet of Luke's Jedi Academy, I would once again call you crazy. The fact that this is happening, despite some issues I have with this being in the Book of Boba Fett, I can't not be grateful because this story is amazing. And here's what I want to get into. We'll get into the detailed analysis in just a moment. But for my overall 2 cents, this kind of story is a story that I, as a fan, really want, and I'm glad we're seeing it. The problem with this is I don't think it necessarily fits with the story of Boba Fett, and I've seen a lot of discussions on this on Twitter and whatnot, and I think that's the biggest thing we need to think about is, yes, this story with Luke, Grogu, even Ahsoka you can bring in, is amazing, and I'll get into the details of that. But should this have been in this show? Maybe, maybe not. I'm still leaning towards the no. This should have just been in Mando Season 3. So we start off with Mando walking the forest of this planet, and he's looking, he's going, Skywalker, is anyone here? Because you see all these little spider droids, and they're picking up rocks and placing them, forming a building. And obviously, if you've seen the sequel trilogy, you know that that is the Jedi Academy huts, right? And so it just makes me look back at all those claims that the sequel trilogy was going to be deleted and retconned. I wonder how those people are doing. But anyways, R2-D2 is with Mando. He's looking for him, and Mando's getting kind of frustrated because he's like, I came all this way, and Luke and my kid basically isn't even here. What the heck is going on? And then we got a really, really beautiful establishing shot of 2 little figures. We get Luke Skywalker and Grogu, and the second I saw this, the biggest smile came on my face. So while we're with this scene of Luke and Grogu, he's training him, and in fact, we now learn canonically that Grogu is Luke Skywalker's first student, which another really, really great detail. And we even get this really amazing and honestly quite dark scene of Order 66 because Luke Skywalker helps Grogu remember his past, and we get this scene which looks beautiful. I mean, I don't know if this is all CGI. I think the clone troopers are CGI. They really look CG. They don't look real. But even it being CGI, it looks brilliant. It looks really good. It's just this dreamy sequence of these Jedis getting mowed down. And so after that scene happens, then we jump right back to Mando again. And standing next to him is Ahsoka Tano. And so as I'm watching this episode and as I'm seeing all of these events unfold, my mind's just blown. I can't comprehend this. There's so much going on, but it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's the Star Wars story that I've wanted to see for so long, and it's being unfolded in such a brilliant way. But again, I can't stop and think, but this is Boba Fett's show. Why is all this being shown in this? Also, another really nice scene is Din Djarin's obviously there because he made that gift for Grogu, and he's here to see Grogu. Obviously, it makes sense, but Ahsoka Tano is like, she's honestly kind of manipulative. She's telling him, you can do what you want, but just FYI, this can lead to a really, really bad situation. And so I'm curious to see the audience reception of this. And again, she doesn't tell him yes or no whether he can see Grogu or not, but she is being pretty manipulative, like, hey, okay, so you're here to give him this gift? Okay, well, I will give it to him, Ahsoka says. And Din Djarin's looking for all these excuses on why he needs to see Grogu, and so we get this shot of him seeing Grogu out in the distance. And so my biggest worry was that, is it too early for Din Djarin to meet Grogu? I said, I don't think Din should meet Grogu in the show. I think they should wait a longer period of time before they meet up again, because it could take away the impact from the ending of Mando Season 2. And the way Dave Filoni did this is honestly really brilliant. They don't meet up. He sees him. He doesn't see Din, though. I'm sure he felt Din, but they don't meet up. And so honestly, if there's anything I can take away from this, there is now more emotional conflict built up because of this episode. And I gotta give them props for that. They did a really, really great job. You know, so we got all this stuff with Luke training him. It's hilarious. I mean, seeing Luke have Grogu on his back like he did with Yoda on Empire Strikes Back, I mean, come on, how can you not love that? And so after all this unfolds, Din Djarin does decide that he's not going to see Grogu. He made his own decision personally that he doesn't want to mess up Grogu's journey. And I thought that was really good character development. I thought that was a nice little place for Din Djarin to be in his head. And this is where Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano finally talk with each other. Now, I had made a video saying that I think Luke should show up in the Ahsoka show for, you know, reasons X, Y, and Z. And seeing this happen already, it was amazing. I mean, we're getting in live action Anakin's son as well as Anakin's Padawan talking with each other. And they're talking about Grogu. And they're talking about how, you know, should we train him? He's got such a deep connection with Din Djarin. Is this the way, or should we let him go back with his father, you could say? And so again, there's another emotional conflict that's built up from this episode. And this is where Luke brings Grogu into his hut. And he has two objects placed down. He's got a box, and he's got the gift Din Djarin gave him. He opens up the gift. It's what we predicted. It's a little chain armor. And then on the other side is a lightsaber. Which are you going to pick? Are you going to pick Din Djarin or the Path of the Jedi? And before we get to learn what he picks, it cuts off. And so I'm just wondering, are we going to learn this in the next episode? Are they going to follow back up with that soon? Or is this going to be a thing that we have to wait till Mando Season 3 to find? You know, only time will tell. I'm not too sure. My question is, what is he going to choose? It's definitely complicated. I really don't know. And so after all of this madness that has unfolded in front of us, all these events, all these plot points and elements that are just really thrown at us, we go back to the sands of Tatooine and we get Cobb Vanth. And then there's a character who appears out of nowhere in the distance of the horizon. And this specific person was Cad Bane. Now, a lot of people have been predicting that he would show up in this show. And I'm not the biggest fan of Cad Bane. I don't dislike him by any means. I don't really care for him that much. But I will say, he looks really good in this show. He looks, honestly, kind of scary. Was it just me, or did he look kind of terrifying? He's got these cut-up teeth, these shark teeth looks, and his eyes are glowing that deep red and orange. I mean, they did a really good job making him look good in live action. And the shocking ending to this is he shoots Cobb Vanth. Now, do I think Cobb is dead? No, I doubt he's dead. But still, that shocked me. Cobb Vanth took him out and then took his lieutenant out as well. And I was just like, holy cow, this story's getting built up, you know? And this is a very smart way of getting the audience on board with the fight against the Pikes, right? You have to piss off your audience in order to get them on board with the conflict, right? The reason why we're against the Pikes is because they showed us what they did to the Tusken Raiders, and now things like Cobb Vanth. And then one more thing they did is they basically set up a terrorist attack. They set this bomb in a case inside of that cantina that we know, and they blew it up. And I'm assuming most people in there died. And so again, the writers are doing a very good job of making sure we care about this war against them. And so next week is supposedly the final episode of this season. And I don't know how it's going to play off. I don't think the series is going to end with next week's episode. There is so much that has been set up that I don't see being concluded in one episode. Even if the episode is over an hour long, there is so much that they have to do that I do think a season 2 is going to happen. But that leads to my final point is, should this go on to 2 seasons? Or should this have been more linear of a story and been broken down to just Boba Fett and the things that are going on with Boba Fett himself? Because, like I said, we've got all these other aspects that kind of convolute the overall story of Book of Boba Fett that make you completely forget about it. And while those stories themselves are amazing, I mean, Chapter 5, I've seen it 4 times already, right? It's amazing. I love it. It's Mando season 2.5. I can't stress that enough. I love that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I kind of wish that we just would focus on Boba Fett and really expand his story out more. We'll see what happens in next week's episode, but at the same time, I do have that criticism is this show should have been condensed down a little bit more. I don't think all this extra stuff, I think they could have held off on that, if I'm making any sense. But guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I know this is kind of a long review and ramble. I loved this episode. There's so much stuff that I didn't even mention that I could, but there's just so many details about this that just put a smile on my face. I want to give a shout out to Dave Filoni. He did a really great job with it. A lot of fan service, I get that, but still, I think most of the fan service was done justice and done properly. My only complaint was the fact that this stuff is in the Book of Boba Fett show. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys think. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you not enjoy this episode? Do you think it should have been in this episode? Etc, etc. Let me know, give your 2 cents, give your analysis and thoughts. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you would, please leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel a lot. And if you're new, why don't you go ahead and subscribe for more Star Wars news, theories, essays, and more, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.